up, yo? It's Marc with the Fantasy Knockout Fantasy Football Show. Today is July 1st. I am back. Follow the show. We're on Twitter at Fantasy Knockout. We're also on Instagram at Fantasy_Knockout. Like I said, I'm back. We're going to kick off this season. I'm going to go over this year's expectations and schedule, and then we're going to talk about free agencies, madness, who went where. So let's get into the news.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the news.
News with views. All right, so running back Alvin Kamara from the New Orleans Saints. The PFT's Mike Florio reports that Kamara is bracing for a suspension for at least 6 games. He will face felony battery charges for allegedly throwing some punches at an incident during the Pro Bowl. A lot of you probably forgot that, so we don't know the full details of all that yet, but probably a 6-game suspension. Quarterback Deshaun Watson. I'm sure you guys have heard this, but PFN's Aaron Wilson reports that there is concern from the NFLPA that the league will look into suspending Watson for the entire 2022 season. We'll get more into the show because he signed a new contract with a new team. Judge Sue Robinson is not expected to rule before the week of July 11th. The Browns are expected to go forward with Jacoby Brissett as their quarterback. And then wide receiver Terry McLaurin, he signed a 3-year deal. He's from the Washington Commanders. He signed a 3-year, $71 million deal, so good for Scary Terry. Woo! All right, so let's get right into the main event. So first off, we're kicking this off. I want to say thank you to all who have continued to support this show and me. Sincerely, thank you. But if you weren't aware, I took a year off from recording the show. Had some schedule problems and stuff like that, but we're back. I still provided content as far as article form and stuff like that. This year we got a new look. We're going to, you can still listen like you normally did, but we're going to add the video into it. So what do you think? You like my little shindig of some of my stuff, the Fantasy Knockout? So you're going to be able to listen to the show, watch the show on YouTube, and we're going to still have articles for you to read. So let's talk about the schedule real quick. So before the season starts, I'm going to offer 2 shows a week. So on Tuesdays and Fridays, we're going to do topics such as free agency, like today. We're going to talk about the NFL draft. We're going to talk about positional rankings. We'll break down each division and each team's outlook for the season. And then once the season starts, we're going to then bump it up to 3 shows a week. Tuesdays are going to be the waiver wire show, who to add, who to pick up. Then Friday show is going to be the start sit show. I always struggle saying that one. Start sit, guys. The questions of who's in your flex. We all know what quarterbacks, like you're starting Herbert and stuff like that. But the middle guys that you don't know who to put in your flex, that's what that show is going to be going over. Who I like that week, who I don't like that week. And then Saturday I'll do a quick injury show, in and out, my take on who I think is going to play or who's going to sit. So get them out of your lineup. Don't give your opponent a 0 by just starting somebody who's not going to play. And then I'm looking forward to this year. I hope you guys are too. I know we're going to have fun. We're going to bring home some championships. So let's get right into the free agency part. Free agency is such a fun time. Let's find out who went where, what upgrades did your team have, and then this year, there's been more movement than there has been in years past, which is crazy. So I think it's like the last 3 years, there's been more free agency signings and more quarterback movement, more receiver movement. So we'll break all that down. We'll go over their contracts, stuff like that. So let's start off with the quarterbacks because that's always the fun and biggest one that everybody watches. So Tom Brady, he's not retiring. He's going to be back with Tampa Bay for at least 1 more year. We'll see what happens next year. But Brady's back, okay? So then Aaron Rodgers, he ends up re-signing with the Green Bay Packers to a 3-year deal, $150 million deal. Russell Wilson, he gets traded from Seattle. He gets traded to Denver for the 4th-round pick, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, defensive tackle Shelby Harris. 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a 5th-round pick all went to Seattle. Like I said before in the news and notes, Deshaun Watson, he got traded to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th round pick for 3 firsts, a third and a fourth round pick, and then he signed a big whopping like $240 million guaranteed deal. But again, he's going to be most likely suspended this year, so we're going to be off Watson at all. Matt Ryan, he ended up getting traded to the Indianapolis Colts, and then that was for a 2020 third round pick. So no longer Carson Wentz in Indianapolis. He got traded to the Washington Commanders for a second round and 2 third round picks. So a little swapsies there. Kirk Cousins, he signed an extension through 2023. He's in Minnesota for another $35 million. So that's good. Then he'll be there for 2 more years. Mitch Trubisky is no longer backing up Josh Allen in Buffalo. He is now in Pittsburgh. Big Ben retired. So Trubisky signed a 2-year deal, $14 million. Imagine he'll probably start the year. They also drafted a quarterback. So we'll go over that during the draft recap. Jameis Winston, he's staying in New Orleans. He signed a 2-year, $28 million deal. So he will be the quarterback for at least the next 2 years in New Orleans. Jimmy Garoppolo is still a 49er. So he's staying put. He's still recovering from his shoulder surgery. Teddy Bridgewater, he signed to go back up to a Tagovailoa. Struggle saying that name. So he's now with the Miami Dolphins for $6.5 million. Marcus Mariota, he's no longer a Raider. He moved to Atlanta to be the starting quarterback there. He signed a 2-year deal for $18 million. Let's hit some running backs real quick. So Leonard Fournette, he's going to stay put. He signed a 3-year deal for $21 million to be a Buccaneer, so good for him. James Conner re-signs with Arizona to a 3-year, $21 million deal as well. Here's some movement. So Chase Edmonds, he is no longer in Arizona. He signed with Miami to a 2 years, $12 million deal. Sony Michel signed with the Dolphins as well. I think it was just a 1-year deal. Melvin Gordon, he's staying put. He's returning to Denver for another 1-year deal. Rashad Penny signs another 1-year deal to stay in Seattle. And then J.D. McKissick, he allegedly was going to go to Buffalo, then Washington decides to keep him, and so he signs a 2-year deal to stay in Washington. And then Raheem Mostert is leaving the 49ers. He's signed a 1-year deal to go to Miami. So Miami added 3 new running backs. Let's go wideouts. Biggest news is Devontae Adams got traded during the offseason. He is now a Raider. They traded a first and a second round pick for him, and then he signed a 5-year, $148 million deal. Personally, I'm a little excited. I'm looking forward to what he can do there in Vegas. He's probably not going to have the same touchdown. He'll have probably a regression a little bit because going from Rodgers to Carr, we understand. Tyreek Hill, he got traded as well. He's off to Miami. He got traded for 5 picks. And Chris Godwin, he re-signed. He got franchise tagged. He then re-signed with the Buccaneers to a 3-year, $60 million deal. Amari Cooper got traded away from Dallas. He got traded to Cleveland to go be with Deshaun Watson for a 5th-round pick. Mike Williams is staying with the Chargers. He's staying in Los Angeles. He signed a 3-year, $60 million deal. I think that is probably the quietest news this year. I like that. It's sneaky good. Allen Robinson, he leaves Chicago. He's going to the Rams. He signed a 3-year deal, $46 million. Julio Jones and Odell Beckham, they're unsigned at the moment. Jarvis Landry, he left Cleveland. He is now a New Orleans Saint for a 1-year deal. Marquise Brown, he got traded to Arizona from Baltimore for a 3rd-round pick. Marquise and a 3rd-round pick for the 1st-round pick. So now he is in Arizona with his college quarterback in Kyler Murray. A.J. Brown was also traded during the draft. He was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 1st and a 3rd-round pick. So some swaps there. Robert Woods was traded to Tennessee from the Rams. So now I think that was for a 3rd-round pick in 2023. So kind of interesting. So Woods is now in Tennessee. Michael Gallup, he re-signed with the Dallas Cowboys to a 5-year, $62 million deal. He's still recovering from, I think it's ACL, I believe. Antonio Brown, he's out of the league. He hasn't signed with anybody. I doubt that he even plays anymore. Cordell Patterson was a free agent. He signed with the Falcons to stay there for another 2 years. Juju Smith-Schuster, he moved to Kansas City for a 1-year, $10 million deal. And then I got 2 signings to Jacksonville, which is kind of weird. In my opinion, they overpaid. So Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. Christian Kirk signed a 4-year, $84 million deal. That's a little much for just a mediocre guy. Zay Jones, 3-year, $30 million deal. That's pretty average. But at least Trevor Lawrence now has some pass catching options better than what he did last year. DJ Chark, he leaves Jacksonville. He goes up to Detroit for a 1-year, $10 million deal. And Cedric Wilson, he signed with the Miami Dolphins for I think $22 million for a 3-year deal. So he's going to be there with Waddle and Hill. And then Will Fuller, he has not signed yet. I think he's still dealing with his injury. So we'll see. Let's move on to the tight ends. Got a couple guys to go over. So Mike Gesicki, he's staying with the Dolphins for a 1-year, $10 million deal. Pretty normal. Dalton Schultz, he got tagged, and I believe he's going to sign it was a 1-year, $10 million deal to stay in Dallas. David Njoku, he got franchise tagged as well. He's staying in Cleveland. Zach Ertz re-signs to a 3-year deal in Arizona. Evan Ingram, he switches. He's leaving the Giants. He's going to the Jacksonville Jaguars on a $1 million deal. CJ Uzomah, he's leaving Cincinnati. He's going to the Jets to go be with Zach Wilson. O.J. Howard, he signed with the Buffalo Bills for a year. Austin Hooper signed with Tennessee for a year. Gerald Everett, he left the Seahawks. He's going to go to the Chargers. I like that one too. I think he could do well there. 2-year deal with the Chargers. And then Hayden Hurst, he signed with the Cincinnati Bengals to replace Uzomah. I kind of like that one too. I think Burrow and him could have some touchdowns. So we'll see. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. I want to say thank you for listening to the show. The next show we got is Coaching Changes. Make sure to subscribe, whatever platform you're on. And please leave a rating and review. All right. Till next time. See ya.